let's get started, Michael. Thank you so much for accepting doing the podcast with us.
Thanks for being here. I was very glad to see the invitation. I'm feeling a bit honored, I have to say.
Oh my gosh, I am honored because this is the perk of my job,
Okay.
In the communication department. I get to meet all you wonderful people, all these different sorts of research areas.
It's quite diverse. Huh?
It's very, very
that's
diverse.
the magnificent part of it. The diversity of the people, different experience.
Yes.
Wonderful. And people that are really working with their heart, I have to say. Really involved in their work. It's wonderful to see every day.
Yes, yes. Before we started, we were talking about your hobby probably is keeping bees.
Yes, absolutely right.
We'll because that's something very, very interesting for me, who's a city girl.
There's also beekeeping in the cities nowadays.
I grew up in Calcutta.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then it can be a bit tricky, I guess. Yeah.
It was the bees. I mean I just saw them in cartoons or I've never sometimes when I used to travel in Himalayas and stuff like mountains, then probably, but
and they have very nice bees there, I have to say, completely different from our honeybees. It's
Really?
a different species, and they're not easy to handle, I have to say. Very nice techniques the beekeepers have there to harvest the honey, and it's wonderful to see. It's really very close to nature sometimes.
are they different from
They're
the
different,
harvesting
yeah,
technique is different?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a
Oh,
different
wow.
way of beekeeping. Come on, beekeeping is not just a hobby. It's also a philosophy. It's also an idea of interacting with nature, with
Yeah.
environment, with a living being, with insects. It's a colony is like how to say. It's intelligent. You can feel the intelligence. It's a hobby with all senses. You can smell it. You can see it. You can taste it. You can hear it. You can feel the heat that's coming out of the box where the bees are inside of the beehive. It's wonderful. It's
Oh my God.
one of the best decisions ever in my lifetime to become a beekeeper, next to becoming a scientist.
Okay, because if I start talking about that, I think we will just talk about bees and honeybees. So let's not digress.
Yeah.
Good that you mentioned next to becoming a scientist. So this series, this special series, was all about talking to people who have worked at LIST for lots of years, for a certain number
Almost
of
2
time.
decades now.
Yes, so 2 decades before LIST was
Yes,
created, but
yes.
so you were there from almost like the
Not
beginning.
really the beginning. I'm not that old. I only look like that old.
Oh,
But it's right. It was a very long, very intense, very exciting journey.
and what led you to this research? What led you to what is your? I know I introduced you, but I'll let you talk about your own research. How did it all start when you started at LIST, and how your role evolved?
Honestly, in comparison to other big persons in history like Paulus or Martin Luther or whatever, I don't have this awakening moment where a voice is whispering in my ear, "You will become a scientist. You are the chosen one."
It's like
this
a
not
calling.
this is not happening to me. Honestly, I was becoming a scientist by accident. It was really an accident. Like, there's a very good sentence by Lawrence of Arabia who said, "I always controlled the things I got into, but I never let myself get involved in any of them willingly." So this is also for me. I would like to become a teacher when I was much younger.
Oh,
So, but I started with PhD study, and I was pretty good in it, I have to say.
what was it your thesis about?
I was doing a PhD study at the University of Göttingen many years ago, and before I was finishing, my PhD supervisor came to me and said, "There is an advertisement for a job in Luxembourg. You should write a letter of interest and something like this and a CV and do so." I had no idea where Luxembourg was. I was thinking, "Oh, yes, it's a city. What is the city doing with agricultural research?" And then I was really checking on the map. Okay, this is Luxembourg. Okay, this is really a country, not only a capital city and a lot of petrol stations. No, it's really a country. It's a nice country, I have to say. And I came here for the interview, and they accepted directly. Said, "If you want to sign, here's the contract." This had never happened to me, and I'm
Simpler times, yeah?
After absolutely. It was during the interview. I said, if you want to have the job, you can get it.
Oh,
and I have to say, even after 18 years now, I'm really grateful that this happened. It was wonderful. And I have not really thought about it 1 second. I said, yeah, this I want to do. I was convinced by the country. I was convinced by the people being part of the interview. In this case, Lucien Hoffmann, for example.
Lucien Hoffmann was
Hoffmann
there
was making
the
interview with me, and I was thinking, yeah, this guy has an idea how to do research, and I think he's a pretty good boss. So was wonderful. And on my way back by train, I was just thinking, okay, now you have to arrange the removing. You have to find an apartment. How will it work? It was wonderful, and it was one of the best
decisions.
And also the best days of my life. This interview, because it was a perfect spirit. I was quite impressed by the infrastructure at that time. It was a very small building, but everything was there. It was like a wonderland. Coming from a German university where everything is a little bit old and ruined, and you have to share the instruments, and you have to call somebody to repair it. Everything was there. It was like Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, this is precisely what I want to do.
Oh my gosh.
And it was wonderful.
What was the research? What was your thesis about when you were doing the PhD, and what was the job about when you started?
Honestly, originally I'm a gardener. So I started in horticulture, making an apprenticeship in a tree nursery 30 years ago now already. Then I started to study horticulture at University of Hanover. Then I've changed University of Göttingen for the PhD. And I was working with pest insects in oilseed rape. So rapeseed. There are a lot of different pests, many insects that can lead to big damage in oilseed rape. And I was very good in identifying these species, looking for sources of plant-based resistance.
Oh, okay.
To develop new control methods. In this case, to come up with resistant cultivars against these pests.
So pest control methods.
Pest control. At the end, it's pest
okay.
control, but not with chemicals, but just on the breeding side, just to bring in resistant genetics and to make the plant resistant against these pests. And it was a quite good work. And then they offered me the job here in Luxembourg, and it was nearly the same. The idea was make a monitoring of the pests in Luxembourg, specifically in oilseed rape, and inform the farmers what's going on in their field. And this I'm doing still after 18 years. I'm collecting data sets during the season, like now, when oilseed rape is growing. I take one of the field cars, driving around, have specific traps in the field, and I'm collecting the insects there, and I'm checking the number of specimens per species, and I inform the farmers via a bulletin, via email, also via web pages, and also we have a kind of alert system where I inform the farmers what's going on in the field, if they have to do an insecticide application or not to do an insecticide application. And this is the first step. The next step, and this is much better, we're using this data sets after so many years to develop forecast systems. For example, to identify when meteorological conditions, air temperature, sunshine duration, precipitation, wind speed, soil temperature as well, when these conditions are perfect to allow the insects to migrate to the field.
Oh.
So we end up 4 years ago with a digital decision support tool. So it's a web tool farmers can link to, and they can see, okay, the pressure of the pests in my area is high or low, then I have to check or not to check. So it's just for supporting the farmers. And then in the next step, we have these wonderful models to forecast the activity. We combined it with climate change projections. So we can tell or give information how climate change will drive the insect migration in the future under different temperature regimes and different CO2 levels. So we are covering here the full chain from observation to a forecast model, from the forecast model to a decision support tool, so to a product, and back again to an overview how climate change will interact with these pest species. So everything is covered, which is perfect for an RTO, because we have both. We have a product, we have policy support, we have interaction with farmers, as well as we have basic research, as well as applied research.
The product you are talking about is what?
It's an app at the end. It's a
Okay.
software app.
Yeah.
It was financed by the Ministry of Agriculture, so this means it's free for all the farmers. They don't have to pay for it. In Germany, France, Belgium, people have to pay for these kind of softwares. Here in Luxembourg, thank
It's
God,
free,
it's
yeah.
free,
Okay.
which is very good and
Mhm.
helpful for the farmers and impactful as well, because I was participating in the project where they checked pesticide residues in honeybee colonies. And Luxembourg has the lowest amount of pesticide residues in comparison to all the other European member states. So I guess also based on our research, our activity, and also the interaction with the farmers, we are able to reduce this amount of pesticides in our environment, which is pretty good.
Which is
I like
amazing.
it. It is, absolutely.
Yes.
I was quite impressed by these data sets. I say, maybe I'm also working a little bit here in this field, and it's also this success is also a little bit my success, which makes me a little bit proud, I have to say.
Of course. And so I know I'm repeating the thing. So what do the farmers do? The farmers look at the app and they
they get information to control their fields or not to control their fields.
Yeah, okay.
So they're saving time, they're saving pesticides. Sometimes they're calling me to ask me for my opinion. This is very good. Honestly, I have to say, the interaction with the farmers is one of the most funny things in this job, because I'm really down to earth here. I have to listen to them, listen to their problems, what are their drivers, what are they interested in, and I've learned a lot from the farmers. When I arrived here 18 years ago, I was just a stupid postdoc, really blockheaded and obsessed by the own topic I was working on for many years, being the world-leading expert. And then I'm coming in this environment and interacting with people who have also different drivers and different problems.
Hands-on people.
Really, it was wonderful to interact. And I have to say, with some of these farmers, I'm working for 18 years now, which is really... It's like a gift by God, I have to say. Close interaction, phone calls once or twice per week sometimes. I'm try to be helpful to them. They help me sometimes if I need connections or something like this. And with some of them, I have becoming friendships. So I'm a close friend to them. Especially with one farmer, I'm interacting a lot. My honeybees are located there. We think about new projects, new approaches in research, what can be good for applied agriculture. It's wonderful. It's a nice interaction and exchange, I have to say.
So my question was how your role evolved over the years, but you are sort of kind of doing the same thing. How has it evolved?
No, it has evolved because I'm working on more topics than ever before, I have to say.
Right.
So not only the insects in oilseed rape, the pests as well as the antagonists, because we have also beneficial organisms.
Oh, yes.
A lot in oilseed rape, especially when it's flowering, doing an excellent job in the ecosystem services. I'm also checking these from time to time. No, it's also, we have new research topics coming up. For example, we started 2010, 2011 with research program, a monitoring program with honeybees in Luxembourg to check how the health of honeybees in Luxembourg is affected by landscape management, by agricultural practices, by beekeeping practices. And based on this, I was becoming a hobby beekeeper. So normally, there are some people making hobby their business. For me, it's the other way around. I was making business my hobby.
Your hobby, yes.
Which is also pretty nice. I'm a beekeeper now for 15 or 16 years, and it's wonderful. It was the best decision ever.
So, Michael, we come to the end section of our podcast.
Nice.
Already. I could have gone on talking to you for hours, but...
I can imagine, because I'm an interesting person.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I wanted to end the episode with 3 questions.
Oh.
Yeah. First of which is, if you had to choose one innovation out of list as your favorite list innovation, let's say, what would it be?
To be honest, the favorite list innovation is always the last one we did. And I'm always keen to see the new one that's coming up, because we have so many topics we're working at list that all the innovations coming up are of interest somehow. And I have to say, if I had to pick one up, I admire Arne Goodlab and his spin-off he did, especially developing in vitro models for human hazard assessment. this is really a great application he was doing there. It's a very nice invention, and this is really a pattern for how Liszt should support society and economy in Luxembourg.
That's perfect. The second question was if you had one colleague in mind who inspired your work or who influenced you, who would it be?
Honestly, this would be a little bit tricky if I mention only one or two, because the rest will not be mentioned. Honestly, I'm happy with the support of the team. And the team means not only the scientist, but also the support. Can be the business officer, can be the security people standing at the desk every morning, open our doors, can be the cleaning ladies who are taking care of us. And I really like when I see them in the evening because they have all good spirit. The canteen crew I have to mention, because they have also an excellent spirit supporting us over the day. It's really good. But if I have to mention one or two, I would say, first of all, our scientific director, Lucien Hoffmann, because I'm always amazed by his skills and his knowledge. And he has the ability to find simple and practical solutions for all the very difficult problems we have in our research. He's always coming up with a very nice solution.
Do you have a book or a podcast that you would like to recommend to our listeners?
Honestly, I'm an old-fashioned guy. I'm not a big fan of podcasts, I have to say. I prefer books. I'm a fan of books, and I have a lot of books at home, novels, short stories, also scientific literature for sure. I really admire Heinz von Förster. Heinz von Förster was a physician and also a philosopher. He was one of the father of cybernetics in the 20th century and also of the constructivism. So he was believing in the self-organization of systems, also institutions, like Liszt, for example, because also Liszt is a self-learning institution developing by the different elements and by the different drivers. And Heinz von Förster said a very good sentence. He said, always act in such a way that the number of choices and opportunities increases. So always have a door open. Always, with every decision you do, try to have a plan A, B, C. Have more options. And this is precisely what Liszt can offer with all the different people with a different background. And to be honest, I also like crime stories, not the ones by Agatha Christie, I have to say. I know many people will be angry with me. I prefer the other queen of crime, Dorothy L. Sayers, also writing crime novels in the 1920s. And these books gave a nice impression about the upper class society in UK in the 1920s, as well as the relationship in the small villages and at the countryside. And this is, I think there are only 14 or 15 books and maybe 40 short stories. I really like these books. I've read them several times, and it's wonderful. And for me, it's the most relaxing stuff I can do during my free time.
Apart from beekeeping.
Apart from beekeeping, that's also an important element. But come on, in the night you cannot do beekeeping, and also not in bed. In bed you can read a crime story, but bees in bed.
That's a bad combination.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Michael, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure talking to you.
It was a pleasure to be here, I have to say.
Thank you so much.